Hello everyone and welcome to Momentum TV, a program dedicated to helping us all navigate the beautiful and sometimes complicated paths of our lives. For those of you who have been on the JWRP Momentum trips to Israel, well, you'll recognize some of us, and for those who we've never met personally, well, we have great panelists here. These are women you want to have coffee with. I know I do. And you can right here on Momentum TV. Let me introduce today's co-hosts. From Toronto, my old hometown, former Canadian national television star, who is now much sought after teacher and motivational speaker, Adrienne Gold. And from Philly, educator and international motivational speaker, Neely Cousins. And from Washington, D.C., an entrepreneurial philanthropist working to change communities around the world, Minette Mayberg. Welcome, ladies. All right, I'm Lori Palatnik, writer, speaker, wife, mother. Coffee date today. Okay, today's question. Our mothers fought for women's rights so that we could have it all. Then how come my friends and I are still struggling with the juggle? Work, kids, house, marriage.
Wow. Well, it's no wonder that there's a lot of confusion coming out of the feminist movement. I mean, in my opinion, I think we won the battle and lost the war. Well, I mean, we've certainly made a lot of progress, and it's been fantastic in many arenas. But when you look at how women are still sexualized in terms of advertising, really even just the heels that we're made to wear so that our legs look good, which is literally debilitating. I think that the fashion industry, the media,
music,
on and on, the way women are still symbolized through those mediums is, how can we feel that we've had any victory in terms of equality?
I don't even think that that's what the writer is asking about, although you're 100% right. You're 100% right. I think she's saying, why am I so overwhelmed? I was supposed to have it all, and why does it feel like I'm drowning? That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you hearing?
Yeah, listen, I'm hearing what Minette is saying, which is like, she's saying our mothers fought for rights. Okay, but women are still objectified. Listen to a rap song, like, are you kidding me? All right, but again, what you're saying is that this woman is saying, and I think we all feel, how many days have you been like, how can I juggle all of this? And there is a tremendous amount of pressure, you know, the home, the career, the community, like, and.
But that's my point, is that it's coming from this confusion. We're still getting a lot of mixed signals about what we're supposed to be, and we're being told what we're supposed to be.
Right.
I think that phrase, having it all, that's the problem.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't have it all.
Not all at the same time.
Not all at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
You can have it all, but not all at the same time.
I remember there was a time after one of my kids was born, and I just felt like I was a mediocre everything. I was a mediocre wife. I wasn't awful, but I wasn't who I wanted to be. And I backed off of work. And I just said, I need to stay home. This is my top priority. And I need to stay home and do this well. And once I get my handle on this, then I can go back to the work arena, which I love and I get a lot of fulfillment from. And I caught some slack from it. I really did. There were some people, I think mostly the working moms, who felt like I should be out there working no matter what. And then I had other people, you know, working and not working, who said, you know, you're really teaching us by example by backing off. And
you know, I've been on both sides, and you know, I've been the stay-at-home mom. I was a stay-at-home mom for 14 years, and wrote books at home and did other things from around my kitchen table. And then I've been out there, but I waited to go out there until my kids were at a certain age. But there is a lot of pressure, and you see, like, a lot of books today are like, ladies, don't step out of your career, you'll never get back in.
Are you kidding? When I left working when I had my third child, I gotta tell you, living in Washington, D.C., you go to a party, the first thing they want to know is what you do. And nobody wanted to talk to me, honestly. It wasn't interesting enough to say that I take care of 3 children. I still thought I was pretty interesting, but nobody else did.
I think you're very interesting.
see, that's a lacking in feminism, because feminism should have meant that being a wife and mother became a valued contribution to society.
But that's not where it went. It went wherever a man is at is where it's at.
It was never feminism, it was careerism. There's a fundamental difference between feminism and careerism. People say to me, I remember when I became religious, people said to me, how could you step over into that patriarchal I said, are you ridiculous? In traditional Judaism, women are equal. They're different, but they're equal. And the fact is that there is enough it's powerful enough to hold the role as the nurturer, the person who moves the home forward regardless. And yet in the outside world, if something is going to be perceived as equal, it has to be identical. And I think that's where the problem is. Careerism, I agree with. I believe women and men should make equal pay for equal work. But in terms of perceiving that everybody should be doing the same thing in order to be equal, I think that's ludicrous.
And everybody doing the same thing usually translates into the women doing what the men are doing.
Right.
I've never heard a man say that he wants to, light the Shabbos candles. He should. It's mostly that the women want to do what the men are doing, not that the men want to do what the women are doing.
It really isn't valued what the most important job in the world, because there's a lot of people who can do the career jobs, but no one can be your kid's mom. But I have a friend who, people say, so what do you do? She goes, oh, I'm at home with my kids. And they go, oh, you're a housewife? She goes, no, I'm not my house's wife. I'm my husband's wife. Good luck.
I'm so stealing that. That's so good. Or, I can't remember hearing a Rebbitzin once saying it when I was in Israel. She said, when people ask her what she does, she says that she runs a home for unwanted children. And provides, dietary things, and they really, that's really impressive. She goes, yeah, they're called my kids. And that's the fact.
Because if I didn't take care of them, they would be very unwanted. Who would want them? Okay. On that note, we'll have to come back. We have to take a break. We have a moment of inspiration, and then we'll be back to more of our panelist inspiration.
How do you feel when you look in the mirror?
Only all right? Why'd you say that? You can talk to me. It's okay. We're friends.
Oh my God, talk to me!
Don't be afraid of the reflection you see. You are an amazing woman, and today I want you to look in this mirror and not just feel okay. You are an inspiration. You care so much about your family. Instead of dropping out of college, you brought your daughter along the whole time. Even though things were difficult, you kept on going with dignity, grace, strength. You have become an inspiration, and I'm not the only one that thinks that.
Hi, sweetheart. Hopefully this is still a surprise. We wanted to tell you how truly inspirational you are to so many people.
You've always put me first, and you've always taken every opportunity to tell me how proud you are of me. And I just want to take this opportunity to tell you how proud I am of you.
I couldn't do any of what I do without your support.
When I fell into a coma last year, I woke up and my family was there and you were there.
You were there in the room when I got the call that my dad was dying, and you held me tight and cried with me, and then you took care of my kids.
I'm so lucky to have you as my wife, as my best friend. You're the best mother ever. You're the greatest advocate for our sons, Brent and Harry, and we love you, and you should be very, very proud.
You are beautiful, not just on the outside, but you are so much on the inside. A moment does not go by that people don't see that.
It's the sweetest thing in the whole world. So whoever put this together is just the most wonderful, thoughtful person.
And now, how do you feel? Slide it, girl. What does that say?
I'm enough.
Let me hear it again.
I'm enough.
I'm enough.
Turn around.
Wonderful gift in the world to know that she's proud of me.
What just happened was one of the sweetest things I've ever experienced.
Welcome back to Momentum TV. I'm here with my panelists, Manette Mayberg, Neely Cousins, and Adrienne Gold. We just saw, I don't know if you saw it, it's I Am Enough. I thought that was very moving. It's very moving.
You know what? I think it's very sad. It really saddens me to see that women have to be empowered and be externally inspired to be okay with who they are. Like, that's a statement on our society that's
But I think
very
it's,
unfortunate.
I always hear this thing like we should, we don't need other people to validate who we are, to make us happy. We have to. But the reality is we're human beings.
Yeah, I think it's human nature. I think men would appreciate it too. I just think maybe women feel more, less appreciated, or we're more emotional. But
there's
I think
part of me is because it's because we're in this post-industrial age. And where, if your husband was going out to, plant the fields and use the plow or whatever it was, and you were in the house,
whatever they do when they make food.
and you were churning the butter, and you were like slaughtering the chicken and like making the meal, and nobody felt like, oh, I'm so jealous. I wish I could go out and hoe that field. It's so unfair that I'm churning butter, Because at the end of the day, everybody was exhausted from pulling their weight, and they had an overarching theme. What was that? We should survive this winter. I'm gonna plant. I'm gonna reap. I'm gonna cook.
I'll churn.
Everybody. Right. And we'll do what's best with our skill set. The problem is, it is so, in this post-industrialized time, everything is so different now that we have to reinvent reasons to have dignity, rather than just the fact that we did our best, that we were enough, right?
You know what? We really are bombarded with these messages that unless you're this size, unless you're this cut, unless you own this, unless your kids are in this, then you're below the bar. And you saw, like at the beginning, like they look at the mirror and you're supposed to, like, how do you physically, and they're like putting it down.
That was so heartbreaking.
I'm sorry, I have to go back to the theme of confusion. I have a college-age son, and he's telling me that when he offers to help someone with something heavy, a female, or wants to open the door for a woman, that he will sometimes get an intensely negative reaction from that female, being like, I can do it myself. Like, why do you think you have to help me? And I'm thinking, like, this is what it's come to. He's so confused that when I see him now, that he neglects to open the door, and I get on him, he's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know whether you want it to go on.
Guys really don't know what women want.
I saw something on Facebook the other day that said, and I actually posted it with my husband's name on it, a real man is a man who knows a woman can do it herself, but he doesn't make her.
I knew there was a but, I knew it.
I like it. If my husband feels the need to take in the garbage, then I'm not going to deprive him of that.
You're a good woman.
Thank you, I thought so.
This post-feminism time has created a very, very confused up-and-coming generation of men and women.
Yeah.
And
I don't find that. I mean, maybe I live in a bubble, but I think
Yes, you do.
I could be that I do.
We love your bubble.
I think maybe the college campuses is what's the exception to the rule. I think
No, that's what's coming up the pipe.
Okay.
But I think once you get out, I think 20 years ago you may have found that on a college campus also. I think women out there like when people hold the door. They like when everybody wants their husband to bring in the groceries.
And they start growing up. And
You start getting back in the real world. I think it might be more of a characteristic of the college campus that encourages that kind of, I can do it myself. But I think once you get out there back in the real world with normal people, I don't know any woman that would be mad at a man for holding a door. Do you?
Not of our generation, and not for me, for sure. I love it. I love being treated like
yeah,
that.
but in their 20s.
I think my daughter.
I think that what Annette says most powerful is that we live in a time of tremendous confusion where we're always trying to sort out what is right and what is politically correct, as opposed to what gives us pleasure. There is a spiritual equivalent of opening the door for a woman to do for a man. So you have to spend time asking yourself, what is the behavioral or spiritual equivalent of holding a door for a man? What does that look like? How do we honor each other?
If I ask my husband, would you like a cup of coffee when he comes home, or what can I get for you, or to go out of your way? Again, it's like you're saying it goes both ways.
Oh, but come on! It used to be you went out on a date. There was clear that
he pays for it.
Now it's clear that he's not paying for it. I mean, now it's very rare. It's usually that they pay for themselves.
But I really feel for your son, and I feel for these boys because they really are confused. They don't really know what to do. The women are just like whatever they're doing, but the guys are like this way, that way, and who's the man? I'm telling you, there's more to discuss. Maybe we should go to the street and see what they're talking about. Okay, so we're going to have a moment on the street, and then we're going to come back. Let's take a look.
Thank Thank you, ladies. Hello, everyone. It's me. It's Joelle Norwood with Momentum TV. And today we're here on the street talking about the women's movement. Did it actually help women or maybe not so much? So here I have with me
Noah Meir.
Panina Ganyao. And what do you think?
I think on the one hand, it's done an excellent job. I mean, I can testify about myself, how far I've come, and I'm very career oriented, and I really feel that I don't even give it a second thought in terms of am I a woman and am I hindered by the fact that I'm a woman and how far I can come in my career. On the other hand, sometimes I think that the line maybe is a bit too blurred. I still think we need men in our lives, and there's a very important role for men in our lives, and we shouldn't forget that.
And what do you think?
I think it was great for me, but I grew up in a home where my mom was educated that her place is in the kitchen, cleaning the house, taking care of the kids, and she still believed this is the way it should be. Right. And growing up in Israel, most of the women movement was I was entering to it from the outside, not from the home, right? So I became very careerist and very educated, and I worked a lot, and I got married pretty late, according to my mom. So for me, it was great, but it's still a challenge in the house because even though I'm working all day and sometimes even nights, like with events and things, I still been accepted to come be home and cook and clean and taking care of my son, right? And I think it's like adding more challenge and more responsibility for you, but I think it also did a lot of great things for women, especially young women today, that can reach out, especially if you look at Africa and other countries and you compare yourself and where other women are when they don't have any other possibilities or options in their life. So at the moment, I think it's great, but there's more to go into it, like to grow into it and learn more about where men should be and where women should be. And it's not like dividing them to two different subjects, but it's not also about us becoming a stronger woman that can really do everything when the man can do only one thing at the same time.
Right. Well, thank you so much. So back to you in the studio. You've heard it from the women on the street. I'm Joelle Norwood with Momentum TV. Bye-bye.
Welcome back to Momentum TV, where I've been talking about feminism, post-feminism, and all that goes with it. Okay, last thoughts. Neely.
When you look at how Jewish wisdom is pointing us toward the roles of men and women, there's a concept that you go back to the first time in the Torah that thing is mentioned, and you learn what the essence of that concept is. So when you look at the first woman, Eve, in the Garden of Eden, she was created to be what's called an ezer kenegdo, which means a helpmate opposite him. She created to help Adam. So people think helper and they think less than, like a secretary. But if you look at the concept of a doctor and a patient, who's helping who? A teacher and a student, who's helping who? In order to provide genuine help, it means that you need to have something the other person doesn't have. And the Torah is pointing us towards women have a very particular strength. And even the word ezer, within ezer is the word oz, which means power. And Judaism is trying to point us towards women are the battery pack of the Jewish people. But the first thing you need to know is that you have to charge your own battery. If you're giving to everybody else, you're not charging yourself, everyone's going to lose out.
Okay, very nice. Adrian.
I'm just thinking based on what Neely was saying, that if you go a little further along in our text, you see that Abraham and Sarah, the first monotheistic couple, the beginners of Judaism, if you will, she had so much tremendous prophecy, much power, that there is an incident where, Abraham has this other wife and this child who's trouble, if you recall, and Sarah says, you have to send them away. They're affecting the overall running of the family business, which is to bring Judaism into the world, right? And Abraham says, that's not kind, I can't do that. And God says, you got to listen to your wife. In this case, listen to your wife, because she knows what she's talking about. So we see very early on that the ability to understand relationships, what is better for the overall big picture of the family, can be a very uniquely female strength. And that we diminish it by assuming that anything that happens outside of the home has more strength and more importance and more power than what we are capable of doing inside of it.
Okay, beautiful. Minette.
I think the dilemma of the modern woman is really a contemporary problem that emerges because we've lost today the dealing with really the essence of who we are and our purpose in life. And the Torah tells us that God wants from us our own unique greatest potential. And we have to really look within ourselves and stop comparing ourselves to the billboards and the ads and the next door neighbor and the movie star and the rock star. We got to stop comparing ourselves, and to the, quite frankly, really our heroes now are also the CEOs, the female CEOs, which is fantastic. All of these things are fantastic, but we have to be who we are uniquely and not feel that we have to prove something based on somebody else.
Okay, very nice. You know, the message we all got, and I got growing up, is that marriage is a partnership. Marriage is a partnership. That's the post-feminists and what our parents and our mothers fought for. But Judaism says marriage is not a partnership. Marriage is a merger. What's a partnership? I got the know-how, you got the capital. I know what I want out of it, you know what I want. But after a while, I got some capital, you got some know-how, and you're not getting out, so we dissolve the partnership. Right. Merger is not your thing and my thing, it's our thing. We're in this together. Sometimes I'm picking up the slack in the house, sometimes my husband is. Sometimes I'm picking up the slack, or I'm focusing on that kid, and sometimes my husband is. We're in this together. We're one. Okay, ladies, thank you so much. More to discuss, so join us again. Have the cup with us on Momentum TV. Thank you.